Hey,
Morning.
good morning, everybody.
Hey, welcome.
Expansion Sunday.
Yeah, we hope all of you are having a wonderful, wonderful day today, wherever you are and whatever timeline you're in as you're joining us. And we welcome you into this show, and where we're going to be chatting a little bit about some inspirational things for you,
Yeah,
right?
we kind of left everybody with a little cliffhanger on the last Expansion Sunday.
Oh, okay.
The fine tuning.
Fine tuning our
We
awareness
promised
state.
everybody that we'd get back to them with the practice, a couple disciplines and practices.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Let's talk. We wanted
we,
to talk a little bit
yeah,
about. Of course, here on this program, you get a little bit of inspiration on your conscious journey and your spiritual path, helping get encouragement from us and from Julius, which is the group that we channel, on how to reach all of these states of awareness in your life and acquire all the things that you dream of and that you desire. And of course, always walking with compassion and love as we demonstrate the truth that we are all source and that it is a universal state of beingness for all of us here on the earth ship, that your perception of separateness has probably been the thing that's been causing you the most turmoil in your life and all of your limitation in your life, right?
yeah, we're all seeking that magic rainbow, aren't we?
We are. Or being the magic rainbow. We could be the magic rainbow, right? Right?
You
Yeah.
know, we're all for that. We all want that in our lives, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's a finance.
Aware of your own energy, your awareness, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's also a really, really great way of getting to know yourself and who they are. They're
Right.
doing alignment in their lives. They're still faltering here and they're still faltering there, and they'll say, and about self-awareness, and then your fine-tuning aspect of self-awareness projects outward, and you become the artist that's painting your own reality. And they're like, oh, well, I don't even know who I am, right? I don't know who I am. So what creates self-awareness for you? How? Mm-hmm.
Lie to the person who's looking back at me in the mirror.
Right?
Yeah.
Your opinion, your perspective of things.
Well, usually when I'm having a hard time, because I struggle sometimes just like everybody else does. I mean, it's no cakewalk. Me to get myself moving. What are you doing?
Right.
You know, this earth plane or my energy's not up. I need to get to a space. For some people, it takes a long time to recalibrate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Meditate and sweat to death and, you know, all those things. And I don't need to really do a couple deep breaths and then boom, step right back into it and I'm good to go.
When you're creating to attach to that thought, and the combination of that consciousness and energy will create thought and emotion combined together, straight itself. Doing this life. That's how you're doing this earth. That's how you're doing the human experience. That's how you're doing the light being experience. But of choosing a thought and drawing up an emotion of your choice and blending them, your auric field is like a film projector of what's going on in your life, so that your life here on the earth ship just reflects. You're getting to know yourself as source. Well, how are we doing that? Well, the earth just reflects you feel about a given thought. Okay? Human beings are generally not even aware of this. They are not aware of the fact that they can pick a thought a solidified demonstration of those two energy forces, and you're both those energy forces. You are both thought and emotion. Think about your childhood. Did your parents ever say, okay, sweetheart? And at the end of the day, let's see if we can link that it showed you how during the day will guarantee that the day will play itself out to demonstrate. Let the child go, wow, okay, I'm getting this. I can totally see that I create my day. Can you imagine your parents teaching you that as a child, or anybody, any leadership organization that's supposed to be bringing to God? Spirituality blend together. That spirituality is the birthing of science because it's an inspirational thought and theory, and then it's pushing so hard to each other. Now just imagine playing sports, having a job, having friends, that they're creating this. Okay? That's the practice of awareness. That means pain, sleepwalking, which is the way that most human beings do their lives. Okay?
There are practices, I mean, don't get the wrong idea here that is practice.
Yeah.
You know, just to use a terminology, professional athletes don't become elite athletes without practice.
But it's focus.
You don't just step into.
No, but that's a form of awareness.
Yes,
okay? You can't go out on a baseball field, la 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 la, and have a ball be smacked. Unless you're paying attention to either get the hell out of the way or catch the ball or hit the ball or throw the ball. Those things.
In terms of spirituality, your quiet time, your inner focus are all needed, along with other tools.
That's because they help you be aware of your thoughts and your feelings, right?
Yeah.
Instead of the bombardment of,
As you were saying that, instead of you being told by others exactly how it feels for you. Now that literally scares the hell out of people.
yeah,
To not have to rely on somebody else and give them all the information.
yeah.
You've just forgotten how powerful you are.
Of any given thought coming into your field, whether it's being suggested by somebody else, your own imagination and your own fantasy. That is one side of the epoxy. It's one side of the epoxy. There's a two-part epoxy process for reality, okay, on the physical plane. The other part of the epoxy, part B, is your emotions, the way you feel about this thought. They do themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your emotion that you attach to a thought is really the driving force behind how that thought.
Saying the rocket fuel,
It's the rocket fuel.
you know, so the emotion aspect of anything, anytime you attach an emotion to anything,
Enthusiasm, love, non-judgment, joy, and happiness, those emotions, let's just pick 4 emotions, okay? To a thought will allow you an absorption of that thought and experience to a completely fulfilled and satisfied state. So you won't have to keep doing the thought stressed about the thought, worried about the thought. That thought only gets a very small percentage of it absorbed into your system, and you have a tendency to do it over and over and over. This is massively key for how you walk on this earth ship and what you have a tendency to repeat in your life, or what you have a tendency to master in your life first. You do a thought or a possible experience with resiliency, love, and non-judgment, you generally can get the if you do any given thought with stress, worry, doubt, fear, and anxiety, and you'll have to do it over and over and over and over and over. Welcome to compulsive behavior. Is wrapped in you're not going to do it well enough, that you just can't seem to do it enough to satisfy your own judgment of what you think enough is. Where somebody else will be like, I'm good, I got that done. And they'll energy of the two. When you are wanting to learn something or better, you come into a classroom, okay, a degree, you're going to school, you want a degree in something, you want to thought, and you enter right into the I already know this. I just have forgotten some of it, and I'm going to go through a remembering process here. You've already opened the door for allowance, because it seems a little easier to remember something than to learn something, right?
Yeah, but don't you find practitioners that are that way, that are very arrogant?
Yes. Yes. Okay, let us finish what we're saying, okay? So you come into school, or you come into a course or a class or a theory or an idea, and you I'm just going to go through a fine-tuning remembering process. You've already are not judging that this is going to be hard and I'm not going to get this, okay? And you come into it with enthusiasm do that course or that theory basically seamless, you'll absorb it, you'll get it, and you won't have to repeat it. Where versus you come in and you go, God, this is going to be so hard, and oh shit, and put a block up. And chances are that even if you pass the course, you're not going to remember anything about it, because you'll have to do it over again and over again and over again. So we'll say that your attitude is everything, but you have no idea how profoundly true that is. Okay? And the difference between all of that going on is being taught or reminded that it's all about awareness. Awareness. I can choose my opinion and my energy behind. I will have the opportunity to master the components of it or resist the components of it and have a challenge. Can you imagine being taught this as a child? Same thing in relationship. Can you imagine that? Okay? Doesn't mean you have to stay in all relationship. Doesn't mean you're not going to encounter somebody who's a jerk or an asshole. You can determine whether you keep encountering this person and keep regurgitating. Mastering the components of it, simply recognizing that there isn't a frequency match in the inner energy between you, and without judgment be able to kind of step away from it, so that even if you do encounter that person, it doesn't.
And you're walking towards another group of people, and you say to your friends, ooh, let's go over here, because that just isn't going to be an energy match for us.
And your friends are like,
and
what?
your friends just look at you like,
what?
What in the world are you talking about?
Right. How do we do this? How do we do this? How do you fine-tune your awareness? Okay? You must practice feeling. You must practice it so that you can recognize it as it's coming up.
Yeah, and of course, is beginning to dumb everybody down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So learning to recognize, believe me, they're aware of this. Mm-hmm. They're aware of the fact that if they can keep you emotionally attached, they've basically got you hooked.
No. Emotionally detached. Emotionally detached.
Yeah, detached.
Then they can control you.
Right.
They can control you. Or if they can keep you locked into one emotion, which is fear, requirement, punishment, and reward. If they can keep you locked in the energy field of fear in relationship to your emotions, you're basically a slave to their suggestion, because you do not have the something new for yourself. You're using low grade octane fuel for your vehicle, and it's be a very fun, adventurous ride. You're just going to be constantly having to maintain your high performance vehicle, where you're going to get very far. You're going to be able to go out on adventures, and you're going to create an extraordinary experience for yourself, right? And you've done this, most humans are aware of it, because they have learned how to masterfully infuse this stuff, gradually getting you addicted to stimulates endorphins in the brain, okay? And so they've literally and methodically gotten you addicted to fear, which is a very strange process. But you can choose the joy. You've probably, or could be, that you've just forgotten what that feels like. You've just forgotten what joy and excitement feels like, because when you get it, it's like first time, right? And you don't realize what you've just done. You don't realize what that was, okay? It was an emotional state of joy and love. The better thing is we're telling you, you can choose that.
Okay, so how do we get our listeners?
Okay. A daily practice, if not 2 or 3 times a day, where you step daily ongoing practices, whether it be work or whether it be school or whether it be interactions with any type of social, every day for a good portion of your day. Whatever that is, to step away from that, literally step away from it. Get out of the house, get out of the classroom, get out of the workspace, and spend to pay attention to your environment and what's around you. And as you're looking at something, or you're touching something, or you're smelling something, or you're tasting something, close your eyes and recognize the emotion. That again. Your physical body has a fabulous exterior five sensory systems: sight, smell, taste, sound, and touch. Okay? And each of those things stimulate an emotion for you. Every time. Every time you hear music, every time you see pretty colors, every time you smell aromatherapy, every time you taste something spectacular, and any fuzzy, it stimulates an emotional response from you, either pleasurably or through disdain. Okay? To these sensories and use that opportunity to pay attention to what an emotion feels like. Okay? So you get away from your average mundane activities and you set aside time every day to either see something new, smell something new, taste something new, listen to something new, or feel something new, and literally start taking notes about how this makes you respond. Basic exercise that should start with your kids to just play the game of sensory systems. You blindfold them. How does that make you feel? You ask them, how does that make you feel? Oh, that's sour, it's a lime, it's a lemon, ooh, 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 and you're like, great, great, great. Are not aware of your emotions. You step out and go to a fabulous coffee shop and have a beautiful cookie and write down how you're feeling. And this is one of the first massively profound steps in helping you become aware. Who you are. It's who you are. The key component to this exercise because the minute you do that, you'll have a difficulty making changes or shifts. Mm-hmm. The moment that you love to start molding it and shifting it and changing it into different directions for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel when you go into your greenhouse, okay? And why? It's the textures. It's the way it looks. It's green. It's beautiful. Don't you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you find yourself like tasting some of your vegetables to your mood? Doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I have started to become aware of is when we have guests and they ask for coffee. I mean, a lot of people drink tea, but when they ask for coffee,
Your coffee is
about my coffee and why does it taste so good, and it's the atmosphere that you're in, it's the energy that you're sitting in. I could have the worst.
No, but it's a whole sensory
But it's
experience.
that whole sensory experience.
Yeah, because you start by grinding it, you're feeling the grains, you're smelling them, you do that slow perk on the open flame.
It's the colors and the textures and everything that goes along with it. And so, of course, you enjoy the food and it just enhances that whole situation for you.
And every day you have the opportunity with simple practices, first thing in the morning, to help you become aware of what you're thinking and how you're feeling.
Yeah, in fact,
right?
I want to carry that just. I know that or will listen to the broadcast that you do spend time going to retreats and going to health facilities and personal development. If you sit back and analyze and look at everything that goes on, it's an experience, and you start making mental notes of the soft music, the clean buildings, the areas that you're staying in.
Usually the smells that are going on.
There's always smells to enhance your, your senses, and there's no arguing going on unless you're in. Everything that goes on in those places are all for the enhancement of you. And they've gone to great lengths to develop that.
Yeah, because it triggers emotions. Okay? Disney is the master of that.
Right,
because the minute you step into Disneyland, they're buddy of the yummy goody, home baked, embraced by grandma, textures, sounds, colors, things, because they are to the fact that they're raping you financially during the day, and you're gladly passing over $100 for a standing right there smiling at you. Seriously, this is a total psychological mastery.
I was going to say, and business has picked up on that theory,
right?
And now you have groceries, you have stores or warehouses now that they're cooking food inside the building as you're shopping, and there's no way in the world you're going to bypass.
Right, but you can utilize where you go. You can prep yourself for anything that you're going to do that day. Travel that's normally energy field in a space of your emotional onset, okay? And create a seamless experience, a tolerable experience, a compassionate experience, and it's all about into your daily practices, infusing this in your intentions on your conscious and spiritual journeys, is how all of this is mastered, right? And it generally helps to expedite the process, because we know that as human beings, everybody's in such a hurry to get to some kind of particular state because they think they're something, even though you're never going to be done. And a really delicious state of the hurried mind, the monkey mind, lead them down the pathway of non-satisfaction, non-fulfillment, and any type of experience or practices. If you are in a hurried energy, get out of it what you're hoping for. And if you approach time, I really don't have a lot of time to talk to you, I really don't have a lot of time to do this, I really don't have you that's your downfall right there. And if the first thing and next thing coming out of your mouth is, boy, I better get something out of this, don't even do it. Don't even do it. Seriously, just step away. Don't spend the money. Don't attend. Making the time. The reason that you make the time for something joy and satisfaction out of it. Extreme joy and satisfaction. And if you're trying to do your conscious or your spiritual journey fast,
It ain't
gonna work for you.
Ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna work for you. We'll just see you next time around, or the next million times around, until you slow down, okay? And you prioritize the things in your life, because you've got to do anything in your life with awareness for you to find joy and fulfillment out of it, right? Okay. All right. We want and your conscious journey. We hope that these points of view help to stimulate your desire for awareness, right? Right? Become into happiness and into possibility. We send you blessings, of course, on this day and every day, and encourage you to find your spiritual path and your conscious journey, either through our continued programming like this, or find